Hi to everybody. We're going to try to explain in our English, so let's hope you understand everything.
Hi everyone.
This is a project that we won in 2013, and Medellin is a city who is in the valley of Los Andes in Colombia, South America. As you see, the river crosses the city right in the middle part, just in the flat part of the valley, crossing and divided all the territory. The urban planners in the last century create something that was a disaster for our city. They create something that divides the city more than just the river did. The canal, they create a canal in a highway over the canal to create an improvement of development of the city, connecting the city in Los Andes with the whole territory, with the national territory. And with that, all the banks and the sides of the river become no places and fabric places and industries. So the city becomes basically a no place, because as you can see, the river as a natural place becomes in this powerful highway, and the pedestrian crosses are non-exist right now. This is terrible for our territory, and not only for the humans, but for the river itself. All the industry and all the houses in the Medellin gives the back to the city, to the river. I'm sorry, and that's a terrible issue in our city. Basically, the river right now, this is the image of Medellin. This is the valley, and it's crossing like transversal Los Andes, and all of this is happening in Medellin. The river is a barrier. The city is basically divided in two, and the river is a no place. Basically, right now, it used to be usual that dead people throw in the river. It's that hard. So the municipality did something really good for the development of the territory. And there is something else that is really important. As you can see in the hills, we are basically in zones of danger, because all of that houses on the hills are in places that can be
There are illegal assentaments.
So that's really complicated for the city. So the municipality tried to change that vision and create a compact city model. And in 2013, they created the project of, or they made a competition about parks in Medellin River, and we won the competition, and this was the strategies that we create. The first one was to create a biotic corridor. Our nature is powerful in biodiversity. Our place has a climate and a weather really good for those types of species. We are in the tropic. So we basically create all the connections, as you can see in this image, to connect and integrate all the fragments, all the nodes, and all the ecological system with the river. So this is what the first one stuff that we did for the project. The second one was to create, as I told you before, the highways are the way that we can compare it to national level. So highways can't be removed. So basically, we design a system to put the highways underground and create parks on the top of them. So that's how we can possibly create public systems around the river. Then this is really important to us, because the system of bridges and pedestrian crossings are non-exist right now. So the park is the possibility to become the river as a social connection and an ecological connection. So bridges are really important in the park. So we create something that we call park-like bridges that are something that you see in the image. The other thing that we did is to create something that you might ask later, is why the river is canalized. Well, you have to understand that we are in Colombia, and we are in a city that is not that rich, and we have to be really strategic with our implementation. The river right now is being cleaned by the municipality and has invested a lot of money. And right now, the project has to become the link between the river and the people. and later in time, in the future, we pretend that the river can be renaturalized once again. So the river as a collective memory, that's one of the main issues that we want to create. So I'm going to pass this part a little bit faster because it's quite long. But this is not only about architecture. Right now, the municipality is creating a lot of transversal issues to create this project. There are actions from the privates, the community is integrated, and we are the actions from the design. So basically, this is the project we want. The community is always on the process, even from the beginning of the contest until right now, that I'm going to show you at the end of the presentation what they are doing. As I told you, the municipality is cleaning the water. They are creating a transformation of the territorial arrangement planning to create a zones that can be good for the development of this project. And with the design, we create zones. Like you see in the image, the purple ones are the zones that are better for urban development of the private investment. So this is going to be important because the private investments are the ones who are going to develop the project in the future. So we basically, for the development of the project, as I told you, we can't do something like bury all the highways. We have to be very strategic. As you see in the left top of the TV, you can see there are nodes and centers of these signs and centers of development, because those are the ones who can be possible constructed and can be possible development in future. We can't, as I told you, we can't develop all the river. We have to be very clear and very specified with areas we can design. And this is the exciting part. We create an urban project with the highways and nature. The highways, as you see, the black ones are underneath, but not all the project is underneath. We have 4 strategies, as you see in the left part, in the top. We have berry roads, we have an enhance of common roads, we have elevated parks, and we have felt stones, as you see on the image. And when that project is done, all of this is the association of a species, the ecological system is going on the top and recover all the nature that the river can have and should have on the Medellin city. This is one of the constructions of this idea of the master plan of an ambiental and social integration of nature. And this is one of the most powerful things that we have. We have a lot of biodiversity, and that project is going to explode that issue. As you can see, it's not only to create a park. It's the opportunity to create links and connections between all the infrastructure that we have on the city. All of these images are combined and work at the same time with the Department of Planning in Medellin to create the great and the better possibilities to create a clean transport and better pedestrian crossing. So that is how project master plan is done. But this is the most beautiful thing that happened to us, because the project is already under construction. So these are the images of the contest. We did something beautiful because the image that you see, the river is like brown, and that's the natural condition of the river. We believe that the image and the project has to be the same. We don't like to lie in the image that we make. So we create those atmospheres of an urban botanical park to vinculate in the contest the community with the project. That was really important to us, that the community has something powerful to see and powerful to approach to this project. Not only renders, but create something that they see and they think that they belong to them. So the project is this area of intervention, who is 19 kilometers and the area is more or less the same as Central Park, but the linear intervention is really powerful. And right now, we are creating the pilot project, who is developed with the investment of the municipality, about $19 million, the project, the first phase. And as I told you, we have to look for the special places to develop and the places who create the most impact and with this high cost infrastructure, because we need it, but we have to be very careful with our money. So this is one of the biggest points to develop the project. The project here is connecting a neighborhood, and as in the right part, in the right side, a neighborhood and a lot of universities with the central and the center civic of the city, creating a great center zone of the Medellin. Well, we're building this ground. We're creating the top. The species are coming. The nature is coming. We are developing the opportunities to people to come into the project. We pretend that the architecture is a hybrid between the needs of the people and the nature, because we want that the protagonist will be the nature. These are ones of the image of the project, but at the end, there is something really important, as I told you at the beginning. The community is one of the biggest issues that are working for the project, because right now they are creating a civic corporations to appropriate and to promote the park. And in the future, for our city and for us as citizens of Medellin, it's really important, because it's not only about architecture, urbanism, or landscape. It's about how we lived in this beautiful territory or geography. Thank you.
Thank you. Christine, kick us off.
You said that you had to be very strategic about points of crossing the river, that you had to be very careful because you have a limited budget, and those points of connection have got to be important. Can you tell me the range of, if you like, communities on either side of the river that you'll connect? Are they very different? I mean, how many connections do you have in total?
Okay, there is something really important in Medellin. We have social levels on the neighborhoods. Is that clear?
Yeah.
We have difference of economic in the neighborhood. So in one side you have 5 level, which is height, and the other side there is a 0 level. So people right now in Medellin don't want bridges, because connect them. Bridges that are something that are really beautiful to connect and integrate, for them are the most horrible thing. So that's one of the biggest issue in this project. So this is really important for the construction of the project. But as you said, they are different, and the social interests are really different. But the architecture and the municipality had to take the decisions to create new developments and new intentions on the city. It's not only about what the community wants, because if was only what they want, the project wasn't done, or they, as they told us in an interview, they said to us, we need and we want a wall. We don't need a bridge. That's how they think, and that's really important to understand.
Thank you.
Karen.
I think that's a very interesting point, the one about the people and the democracy that you're searching for, because we've been discussing that today. And I was wondering, is there a bridge in your pilot, in the pilot project?
We have 2 bridges.
So you'll find out how this works. And
Yeah.
I want to say that it's a really nice project, and I think if you can take on these social injustices through your work, it will be fantastic.
Thank you.
Cool.
Chernobyl in Russia, the nuclear reactor blew up, and Chernobyl as a city was cleared completely. And they thought that was the end. There would be no life there for decades and decades to come. Very quickly, the flora and the fauna recovered. The river here has had a disaster, sustained, but you're now going to clean it up, and it will recover very, very quickly. My question is, you're architects, and you're obviously brilliant architects, but how are you working to manage the bio-recovery? Because creatures eat each other, and they eat plants. And so you're going to need to manage that over the next 10 years. And I'd be interested to hear who your consultants are and how you mix architecture with that kind of scientific work.
Okay, that's a really interesting question because I'm going to show you something. This is really important because we are just a small part of this project. The architecture is only a connector of all of these intentions. We are working in the inside with a landscaping and biological and biologists, and we have forestal engineers, and also the city has those, and we have to work them in huge workshops every day to make the composition of that landscape. It's not our invention. I am not invented all of that. I'm just connect all the needs and create the opportunities for those things to happen. But that's really important.
Thank you for that answer.
Thank you.
I can see that it's a very impressive project in its sweep, at the macrocosmic scale, and also you have an idea of what the kind of detailed and experiences would be like, you know, to inhabit the parks and places. I just wanted to ask you a question about, it's a private-public sort of partnership venture. You said there was funding coming from the private sector. Does that impact on the character of what you're trying to do? Because you would think that maybe the public sector has an idea of what a kind of space, community space would be like, but the private sector, if they're putting money into it, they'll want something back in return. How have you sort of dealt with that, or is that indeed the case?
Okay, that has two answers, I'm sorry. In this part, as I told you very quickly, as I told you, the municipality free these areas of the river to development of the private.
Right.
So they give the strategies to the developments, to the constructors, to create new opportunities, to be rentable.
Right, so they can develop these sites.
Yeah,
right.
But at the same time, there is a tricky issue because it depends of the how you say it. It depends of what mayor wants, what the mayor in the turn wants of the development of the project.
Right.
So right now, the new mayor doesn't want the project. Right. The last mayor put the project under construction, so it has to be done. It has to be finished. That's why we call it a pilot project. So people want it, people need it, people see it. Because if you don't see that, people don't love it, or people don't going to be required. So, as you say, the needs depends of the private, but that's not bad.
No.
It's not bad. The municipality give the opportunity to this development can be real. That's the important, not the zones. The development of the project is more important than the zones that they
see
choose.
Sort of synergy between the two, and that's kind of worked out quite well. Apart from the new mayor, who sounds like he's needs to set examine. But
it's quite.
But that was So okay, well, good luck with it. And
Thank
you for sharing it with us.
Thanks to you.
you.